I'm Cam McKinney. Welcome to the Head to Head podcast, where I compare athletes and tell you which athlete is better than the other. In this fourth edition of the Head to Head podcast, I will be looking at Klay Thompson versus Draymond Green, two of the top 20 players in the NBA, in my estimation, who both play on the Golden State Warriors. The Golden State Warriors have 4 of the top 20 players. You know the names, Steph Curry and Kevin Durant, and you also know Klay Thompson and Draymond Green. But they have become less and less so part of the conversation about what makes the Golden State Warriors great. I think most of the credit and the attention goes to KD and it goes to Steph, and I think that's well deserved because those are 2 of the top 50 players in the history of basketball. But Klay Thompson and Draymond Green fall short of being all-time greats, but they're still stars in their own rights. I would say that Steph Curry and Kevin Durant are superstars, and Klay Thompson and Draymond Green are stars. Okay, let's start it off by talking about Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson has been in the league for 7 seasons in the NBA. Pretty much, I remember him playing in college also. He averages 19.2 points per game, well above the average player. He's one of the better scorers in the league, especially if he's the number 1 or number 2 option. His career from the free-point percentage is what makes him so rare. 42% from free. He's a 45% shooter overall. For a shooting guard, that's about right. He is a 4-time All-Star and a 2-time NBA All-Third Team. He has scored 37 points in a quarter. He has the NBA record for frees in a single postseason. He had 98 free-pointers the year that the Warriors beat the Cavs for their first NBA championship. And he also hit 11 in a single postseason game. Klay Thompson would be called the fire starter. He scores in bunches, but what makes Klay Thompson so rare is he reminds me of Ray Allen in the fact that there's not a lot of dribbling to their game. They're catch and shoot type guys. They're razor sharp from free. But the biggest question when it comes to Klay Thompson is, could he be a superstar in his own right on his own team? And we never really have seen that play out. I mean, early on in their first championship, it was definitely Steph, Klay, Durant figure to the mix. You're changing the whole dynamic of your team. Like a bunch of people say, you're making it a lot easier for you to win NBA championships, and you made the whole thing a lot easier for themselves. It's an absolute fact that Klay Thompson has to do a lot less now that Kevin Durant is there. He is no longer the number 1 or number 2 scoring option. He is the number 3 scoring option on that team. He has not averaged 20 points in a season since Kevin Durant joined the team. This changed Klay Thompson's route to being maybe a superstar if Kevin Durant never joined the team. There's a downside of it for Klay Thompson. He went from Robin to being just another member of the team. He was the main sidekick, and now he's another member of their team. He is not pivotal to their success anymore. He is not one of the main reasons for their success. I think that's an absolute fact when you look at it. He is no longer a necessity. They no longer need Klay to score 20 a night. There are going to be games when Steph and KD are off, and then Klay will score the majority of the points. But those games are now far and farther between them. He is no longer the Klay Thompson who entered this league and was the Batman Robin. I don't think they're no longer the Splash Brothers. Steph has kind of become KD's partner now. It's no longer a 2-man group. It's a band. They're a band. KD is the lead singer. Steph is whatever the number 2 guy would be. And Klay and Draymond are now the backups. And that might be tough for both of them to face. And that's why people wonder, is Klay going to keep playing this role for the rest of his career? Or is he going to try to go out and get that big money contract? We shall see. I think Klay gets taken for granted on defense. He is guarding the best guard on each and every team. Klay is guarding the James Hardens. He's guarding the Russell Westbrooks because Steph Curry is a liability on defense. The only thing that Steph can do on defense is steal the ball occasionally. Klay Thompson is a really good one-on-one defender when it comes to going up against the best scorers in the league. The best perimeter player on those teams are being guarded by Klay Thompson that night. And that is vital to the Warriors' success. So on the offensive end, he's no longer a huge key. But on the defensive side, they need Klay Thompson because Steph Curry is not going to stop Chris Paul. He's not going to stop James Harden. He's not going to stop Paul George. He's not going to stop Russell Westbrook. Klay Thompson is capable of slowing down those players and making big defensive stops. And that's where the rarity of this Warriors team was in their original run. They were a great defensive team. Defense is why they are rare. They're scoring. We have seen great scoring teams in the past, and we will continue to see great scoring teams. But their ability to pass, shoot, and defend is what makes the Warriors the Warriors. And Klay Thompson is a huge part of what makes the Warriors the Warriors. Let's look at Draymond Green now. 9.3 points per game, 6.9 rebounds per game, 4.6 assists per game. He's 33% from free. He's an offensive liability. He's only good at the free when it's wide open. But Draymond Green is the best defender on the Golden State Warriors. And that's why he is still a necessity, maybe more so than Klay Thompson. Because if I took Klay Thompson away from the Warriors, I still think they're a great NBA team. But if I take Draymond Green away from the Warriors, are they still that team that can defend well? That I don't think that they are. I think Draymond might be because okay, this is how I'm going to phrase this. I think that Klay Thompson was a necessity when it was Steph, Klay, and Dre. But now KD has entered the fold, and Draymond Green needs to be there. Klay Thompson does not need to be there for them to win ring after ring after ring after ring. I think this could be an all-time great team without Klay Thompson. I don't think it can be an all-time great team without Draymond Green. But that's not necessarily saying that Draymond Green is better than Klay Thompson. Draymond Green is the defensive player of the year last year. Draymond Green has made All-NBA defensive team 3 times. He's made All-NBA second defensive team. He is a skilled defender. He is the best passer on their team. Steph Curry is not the quintessential point guard who is going to get you 10 assists. And Steph Curry is a score-first point guard. Draymond Green is a really good passer. He is not a really good shooter, although there are games where he looks better offensively. I think he could be a better offensive player if given the option. He is a 3-time All-Star. I think the league appreciates Draymond Green's game more than the fans do. I think the coaches see the rarity of Draymond Green. He is a big who is doing it on all facets of the game. Now, a lot of people will criticize Draymond Green for his knucklehead plays and being suspended in the NBA Finals and all that nonsense. But if you really look at the play, he is a rare player. Both of these guys are extremely rare. Klay from his shooting attributes and Draymond Green from the defensive end. They're extremely rare. Draymond Green can guard all 5 positions on the court. LeBron James is one of the only other guys who can do that. I think Draymond Green is more... I think there is a teammate on the Warriors who is a lot like Draymond Green. I think Andre Iguodala has Draymond Green-like qualities, but I think Draymond Green is a much better defender. But Draymond Green makes it possible for them to play that death lineup of Steph, Kevin Durant, Iguodala, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, etc., etc. They can play that smaller lineup, death lineup, because Draymond Green can guard centers. If Draymond Green could not guard centers, that death lineup would be decimated each and every night. And Draymond Green is also the reason that the Warriors have the advantage in every playoff series that they have. Because if the Warriors play a team that has a great center, Draymond Green will negate that center because he can run up and down the court. They can play that death lineup, and then those centers become useless. Even the Warriors' own centers became useless in those series with Bogut. He made the big man useless in the game of basketball. I think Draymond Green is a huge reason why the big man is now a useless part of the game of basketball. And that is huge. Okay, when the Warriors played the Cavs, he made Tristan Thompson useless last year with that death lineup. He has made the big man almost a useless aspect of the game of basketball. And 15 years, 10 years, 5 years ago, we would have never been guessing that this death lineup could be that successful. I know a lot of it has to do with Steph and Klay shooting, but Draymond Green also brought a rare thing to the game that nobody talks about, is how he defends and how he can play big and still be a perimeter type player at the same time. He does it better. He is better at playing big than bigs are at playing small. He is better at playing big than Anthony Davis is at shooting threes, than DeMarcus Cousins is at playing perimeter style game. They can't play his game, but he seems to be able to play their game, and he negates the effect that those guys have in the games because of how good he is on the defensive end and how he's a huge part of their offense. He's not a good shooter, but he is a really good passer. He is part of the knucklehead turnovers that the Warriors have come to know in these past couple of years. But if Draymond Green doesn't get suspended 2 years ago against the Cavs, they win that NBA Finals, and they would be on their way to winning 4 in a row. They would have won 4 in a row if that did not happen. If Draymond Green did not get suspended, the Warriors would be on their way to winning 4 NBA titles in a row. They are an all-time great team, and one of the things that makes them different is Draymond Green. Draymond Green is Dennis Rodman way better offensively. He's not the rebounder Rodman is. I'm not saying that, but he is just as good as a one-on-one defender. But he is a way better passer, a way better shooter, and a way better offensive player. He can shoot the threes when necessary. Draymond Green is good offensively when it's necessary. I think he's taken the biggest amount of sacrifices on this team. I know some would argue that Klay has, but I think Draymond is not going to be looked at as a very good offensive player because he has taken the sacrifices to not want to score the ball. He's 9.3 points per game. That's not a lot. But when you watch the games, he's a real huge reason why they are so good on the offensive end. See, for me, Klay Thompson brings something to the Warriors that the Warriors already have a lot of. Guys who can shoot and score the ball. Draymond Green brings something that they don't have. A great defender. He's the one great defender on that team. Klay Thompson is a really good defender. Draymond Green is a great defensive player. And because he's a knucklehead at times, people don't want to give him massive credit for their success. Oh, he got suspended. Oh, he hits people in awkward spots. I get it. He is aggravating to watch at times. He gets a lot of technical fouls. He's like Rasheed Wallace in that way. But he is a top 15 NBA player. He is. He's a top 15 to 20 NBA player. He is a winning basketball player. I think the only thing that Draymond Green thinks about is winning, and I think you need those guys on your teams. I think you need a little bit of crazy on your basketball teams. I think every team that's ever won has that guy who only cares about winning. Bill Laimbeer was hated when the Pistons won 2 in a row. Bill Laimbeer has 2 championships. Bill Laimbeer was successful. Everybody hates Draymond Green. He's the most hated NBA player. I don't even think it's close. Everyone seems to hate Draymond Green. But it's part of the game. It's not supposed to be liked. He doesn't want to be beloved. He wants to win. And there's something that's old school about that I really like. He only wants to win that night. He wants to win the NBA championships year after year after year. That's enough for him. He doesn't need to be a 20-point scorer. Too many of these guys have to be 20-point scorers for me to say that they're good. Draymond Green is a delight to watch, because his ultimate goal is to win the basketball game. Like I said, Bill Laimbeer was hated. Dennis Rodman was hated. These guys were hated, but they did their jobs. They played the game. They're Hall of Fame level players. Bill Laimbeer should be in the Hall of Fame. Dennis Rodman is in the Hall of Fame. And Draymond Green is on his way to the Hall of Fame. He is not J.R. Smith clownish. He is a level-headed guy who wins basketball games, and he knows exactly what he is doing. It's very calculated. He is the most hated player in the league, but I think that adds edge to the Warriors. I think the Warriors need edge. I think Steph can be soft. I think KD can be soft. And I certainly think that Klay can be soft also. Draymond Green is the toughness of that team. He's the attitude of that team. He's probably a huge reason why Kevin Durant decided to join that team. I am a big Draymond Green fan, basketball-wise. Again, I don't love everything off the court. I don't love the attitude sometimes. But I think that that's part of what makes Draymond Green Draymond Green. I think if you took that away, he's not the same player. I think people sometimes don't understand that maybe that's the thing that makes him such a good basketball player. And if I took away that one thing, he would just be another guy. You know what I mean? Like if you take away, like they say, just stop doing that and then everything will be okay. Stop being crazy. What if the craziness is why he's good at basketball? What if that's the thing that motivates him? What if that, you get what I'm saying? Like, Draymond Green is Draymond Green. I don't want to take away anything from that. He's a rare player. He can guard all 5 positions on the court. He invented he changed the way that basketball thought of small ball. The Warriors are the first team to win an NBA championship playing small ball as their main way of scoring the basketball. They are the first team to do that effectively and win 72 games and win 67 games and win 60 games 3 years in a row. This year they won 57, but this year they're still going to win the NBA title because you can't replicate Draymond Green. I don't think you can replicate Steph and Klay shooting. I don't think you can replicate Durant, but I also don't think that you can replicate what Draymond Green is for other teams. There's no Draymond Green on other teams. There was no Draymond Green on the Celtics. There's no Draymond Green on the Cavs. There's no Draymond Green on the Rockets. No one is able to replicate Draymond Green, and they really haven't even tried. I mean, people are talking about, maybe Trae Young can be like Steph Curry, maybe blah, blah, blah can be like Klay Thompson, but no one can replicate what Draymond Green is doing on a basketball court. It is a huge advantage that the Warriors have, and it almost wouldn't have happened if Andrew Bogut or David Lee didn't get hurt. When David Lee got hurt and when Andrew Bogut became useless, Draymond Green became the super player that he is. He's not a superstar, he is a star. But there's no one else like him in the league who's willing to do whatever you need him to do that night to win a basketball game. There's no one who's willing to do what he does on the court. That is why, for me, I believe that Klay Thompson loses to Draymond Green in this edition of head-to-head. I think Draymond Green is a better basketball player than Klay Thompson. I think Klay Thompson has the luxury of being the catch-and-shoot guy. I think it's easier to shoot threes when Steph Curry is doing all the dribbling and Kevin Durant is doing all the muscle work. Nobody else is doing what Draymond Green is doing on that team. He is the main defender, like I said before, can guard all 5 positions on the court. That cannot be said enough. Like I said before, I think if you take Klay Thompson off this team, they win championships. If you take Draymond Green off this team, I don't think they win championships. I think he brings the toughness. I think he brings the death lineup. You can do the death lineup without Klay Thompson. You cannot do the death lineup without Draymond Green. Draymond Green has made the center position almost non-existent. He made it so that the Cavs couldn't play. They couldn't play Tristan Thompson at all last NBA Finals. Every series they go into, he makes the big man not be able to be on the court. And I think that is Draymond Green. And Steve Kerr is a genius in the fact that he played Draymond Green in that style. Steve Kerr deserves a huge amount of credit. But to me, Steph Curry makes this team impossible on offense, and Draymond Green makes this team impossible on defense. There is nothing like them. You can't copy Draymond Green. I think people can be Klay Thompson. Paul George could be Klay Thompson. Victor Oladipo can't shoot like Klay Thompson, but you could get it. You get what I'm saying. You could get another shooting guard and put him on the Warriors, and they'd be all right. I don't think you can replace Draymond Green. They gave him the huge contract. I think they feel the exact same way I do about him. There's something about Draymond Green's game that is fascinating to watch, and I think some people undervalue it, some people overvalue it. I might be overvaluing it, but I think Draymond Green is a better basketball player than Klay Thompson. And that's not to take away from Klay Thompson. I think Klay Thompson is a top 20 NBA player. I was listening to Colin Cowherd the other day, and he was saying that Klay Thompson is a top 10 player. I think that's ridiculous. I would be more willing to say that Draymond Green is a top 10 basketball player. He would be in my top 15. Maybe Draymond is 15 and Klay is 20. But Klay is replaceable and Draymond's not. Sometimes we don't look at it that way. Klay Thompson has the luxury of watching Steph Curry dribble the ball a lot. He has the luxury of watching Kevin Durant create his own shots. Klay Thompson, they kick it out to him. Maybe Klay Thompson can do more, but I haven't seen him do more. You know what I mean? Like we were talking about it last year with Kyrie Irving. Oh, if he only had his own team, he would be great. He was great when he got his own team with the Celtics. If I see Klay Thompson go to somewhere else, a smaller market, and be the star, then I'm willing to say maybe Klay Thompson is better than Draymond Green. But at this moment in time, at this state of the Warriors, Draymond Green is more valuable to them and to me as a basketball player. If other teams had Draymond Green, if the Rockets had a Draymond Green, they could beat the Warriors. But the Warriors are the ones with Draymond Green. The Warriors are the ones with Steph Curry and Draymond Green and Kevin Durant. Klay Thompson's replaceable. It's a big three now, and Klay Thompson is a luxury to make it a big four. But those three are vital to those successes. Like if the Warriors lost Durant, I'd say they're done. If the Warriors lose Steph, I'd say they're done. If the Warriors lost Draymond, I'd say they're done. But if the Warriors lost Klay, I think Klay is the most replaceable of those four players. So once again, Draymond Green wins this edition of the Head to Head podcast. Remember, if you like this podcast, if you're listening to this podcast, go on iTunes, review, subscribe, and rate. Thanks for listening to this edition of the Head to Head podcast. Again, episodes weekly on iTunes.